Welcome back to the T.R.O.N podcast, everyone. This is your host, Rashad Woods. Today I have a very special guest out on the West Coast in Los Angeles, Mr. Michaell Magrutsche. How you doing, sir?
Awesome, Rashad. Finally, we got together, right?
Yeah. It took a while.
We do it. Doesn't matter. We do it.
Right,
we don't
right,
talk.
right.
We just do it.
You just have, exactly. That's a great slogan, and I love the energy. I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
So just briefly, you have a very interesting background. You're in creative arts. You talk a lot about people's mental state. You're also a business consultant and a creativity awareness educator. Yes. Yeah. So let's dive right into that.
So, I was born in Vienna, in Austria, in Europe, and I was a sick child, really sick. And when I went to school, I kind of caught myself up and got to school. But I went to school at 7. I couldn't understand anything. I couldn't regurgitate anything. I understood it, but I couldn't regurgitate. And then you're dyslexic. 50 years ago, they said you're dyslexic, but you have to do everything we do. It's like, whatever we want. It doesn't matter what your state is. You have to do it. And I had 6 years of school, and art was it saved my life, art, literally, because I learned myself by creating. It's like, right? When you do a podcast, they can say it's the worst podcast ever. It's the best podcast ever. And nobody can say they did it. You did it. That's why I'm saying we're not talking. We did it.
Well, the thing is about it, right, is like I would rather be talked about than not talked about at all when it comes to creating something, right?
Exactly.
Because, it takes a lot to put yourself out there. I mean, you do art. I saw in the 80s you were in producing and TV production.
Yeah.
You have a wide variety of skills. So that 7-year-old, 6-year-old boy that's in Austria, how did you end up in California?
I was always in art, and literally when I was 17, I had no schooling, and school, I couldn't finish school. And so, I got, I was DJ. Mm-hmm. And I was good in DJing because I mixed Sinatra with classical music, with hip hop, with punk. I mixed it, and at that time, everybody like, what the is that? But they liked it, and nice. So I made sold tapes out of my trunk.
Nice.
Then I got like, whoa, this guy's weird, and so I started creating music for fashion shows. Then fashion shows, because I couldn't do anything else. He's not like, oh, he's very good and whatever, and now he is allowed to do fashion. I couldn't do anything else. So the art, and then I went into the first, when we changed from film to video. That's how old I am. So I was one of the first Betamax and video productions for television.
Yeah.
So I was involved in that, and so I always thought in school, I want to see America, draw me to America. I wasn't like, oh, they're so great, I create so much money or anything. It drew me. And I was 18, and we went from East Coast to West Coast, and I really hated LA. I hated the West Coast because East Coast was more natural. It was more European.
Right.
And then I got a job offer, and then I said, after 8 years, I don't know what to do. I haven't seen that. I wanted to be here, but I didn't see the land. I didn't live with the people.
Right.
And so I got to apply for a job, and you could apply for a job. Not now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did apply for a job, and I got a job offer in Boston and where else? Somewhere on the East Coast. And then I got literally, and I got one in LA, and I thought, I hate LA, but for whatever, I chose LA. I don't know why.
LA. Right.
And so that's how I came here. And then I started hiring a magician.
Really?
For a European show, because I had.
That's dope.
Contacts.
That's nice. It's nice.
And I said, hey, it's like, I see you. I said, Rashad, hey, I see you doing magic. Yeah. I have a show. They would need, it would be great, and they would pay for it. So I got that. And then I got more and more into television. And then I got offered, somebody came up to me, and that's why I say you can't, there's no success. Don't copy me. I'm nobody. I don't know anything. I just me, whatever me. I don't know anything. I'm no expert. There is no expert. You get chosen, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, Magrutsche, yeah. I said, I was at the fair selling documentaries. And I said, no, yeah, it says here under my tag, right? And it says, give me a card. It says, here's the card from Mr. Evans would like to see you next time. I said, how the hell does he know that I'm between Europe and, I met him in Europe.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my goodness. And I didn't know who Robert Evans was, that he did The Godfather, that he did Love Story, Rosemary's Baby.
Right.
He was the longest president of Paramount.
Yeah.
And I went to my American friends because then I was still more in Europe than here. So I said, hey, what's going on there? And he said, Robert, this must be a joke. But I know they explained to me who Robert Evans was, but it was a joke. And I said, so when I came here, I thought it was a joke, and I didn't even, my last card, when you do follow up on the sales, my last card was Robert Evans. I'm just calling him.
Yeah.
Calling him. And I says, Robert Evans residence, he had a butler.
Yeah.
And he says, it's Michaell Magrutsche. Somebody came to me and gave me the card. Oh, Magrutsche, hold on. And then I talked to him and became really good friends. And we co-produced about the Pope, a documentary about the Pope.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then it goes on. Art saved me. It's always saved my life because nobody could hire me.
Well, and I saw, I'm looking at you do neurodiversity, so I'm kind of checking the boxes when I'm going down the list here. And I say this very respectively, you have an eclectic personality, right? So it's magnetic. You move. You're very visual. I mean, I saw on your website, it said that you challenged to do 300 paintings in one day, right?
No, in 3 days.
3 days.
I made 300 paintings. I did. I challenged myself. I said, hey, I want to see if it's, because I wanted to learn because I couldn't ever portrait paint. I could never portrait paint because of neurodiversity. I have this graphia, which means my hand-eye coordination is off too.
Okay.
So I can't really copy anything. And art at that time was, you can make a perfect portrait of that dog. You're a better artist. Right. You can make a picture,
So what is neurodiversity for those of us that are not as familiar?
It's something with the wiring in the brain, meaning dyslexia is one thing, which, you say 91 and it's really 90. You see it's 19, but you say it's 91.
Okay.
You say me and you say my,
right. Okay. Okay.
You twist and speak it differently. And then hand-eye coordination, and there's calculus with you can't do the figures and numbers screw you up. So for me, tax season, I use my Social Security all the time. And I said, it shouldn't have any problem. The worst problems I have with my Social Security number that I write it wrong is during tax season. Because I said, so it doesn't help you if you do it more.
Right.
What I'm saying is that's what they don't understand. They say, oh, it just takes longer. You have to hit it over your head. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay.
So that got me into also, that got me also into the arts. Got me because most artists are neurodiverse. So people with the mental wiring problem are in jail, are homeless, and are artists. Those are nobody says that. Nobody wants to, no. The most people, because they can't do the system stuff. They can't put the logic, the binary.
Right.
This first, then that. They can't handle it. Okay. That's why you have so many. The most neurodiverse are in either Elon Musk, because he's neurodiverse. Yeah? Elon Musk, and that's why I say human-centricity is so important. Right. So Elon Musk, then you have homeless, then you have artist, homeless, jail.
It just depends on. Yeah, their mind is just in a different realm of like what people would say is structured and normal, so to speak.
Yeah,
right.
They can't structure. And they react very human-centered, like emotionally, because that's the only thing they can read. They can read emotionally.
Now, is that something that gets diagnosed, or like how do you actually?
Yeah, they're diagnosed it, but it's so. I was diagnosed in February 24.
Yeah, it's
See, I can't even see. This is my neurodiversity. I can't remember that other term.
It's hard to kind of comprehend how people's minds work. So when you got art, is it just you just go on the go? Like, is it just like one after the other? Because you've done multiple different things artistically wise. Like, so
I've painted 3,000 paintings.
That's insane.
Yeah, but no, it's not insane.
No, I mean it's crazy.
The system. What does the system say? Pablo Picasso was an artist, right?
Right.
35,000. 35,000. What is my 3,000 and 35,000? Okay?
That is true.
So
that is very true.
But see, media doesn't give you context.
Right.
Because if you're out of context, everybody's crazy.
Right.
But in context, everybody is valuable. That's why we are 8 billion one of one human.
Correct.
We're not
For
black person or a white person or an Asian person or a woman or a man. We are one of one humans, 8 billion. And our perspective, and we see life, there's one life, and we see all 8 billion different things. So there is no authority I think in the human centricity, when we talk about you and I as humans in our species, but there is only expert and all these generalizations of race, gender, class, all that stuff is systemic.
Well,
in the system, you can play that.
Well, I think one of the best things about like a podcast like this is I've got a chance to talk to so many different interesting people, such as yourself, right? Because when curiosity is one of those things that I think bridges the gap when it comes to all the things that you discussed, right? So if you are an artist, if you are a scientist, if you are a business owner, if you bake cakes for a living, there's a story behind that. And there's creativity that took, and understanding somebody's, mental state from that, I think is very important, because ultimately they've made something that came from nothing and they made something out of it. And that's the beauty
of creative species.
Absolutely. 100%.
That's what we are. A collaborative creative species. Look what we built. Right. Only the people on top are in charge. But look what we made us out of this world.
It's beautiful.
But we say we are competitive creative. No. We are collaborative creator species of nature. We are part of nature. So we dance with nature. You fill in the gaps and whatever. Right. And we don't exploit the nature, because then exploit ourselves. We don't want to bring a structure into what we are. We are collaborative, and everybody can contribute. Everybody. There's no lazy people.
So how do you're a business consultant as well too. So what specifically do you consult businesses and on?
So I consulted politicians. I consult businesses. Okay. I work with the University of Alberta right now.
Oh, wow.
With Mark McCormick, who does a New World Spirit, which is a thing of human centricity, how to systematize human centricity and make life system from thing. And then,
Really? That's very How did you get hooked up with the university? Did you just send an email out?
No person. Everything is person. Nothing. If you think anything is systemic, nothing. He called me.
Oh, wow.
I started conversing with him, and then we have literally for the last year, we work on that, how to make the outdated systems where we all suffer from into an updated system that is aligned with our conscious mind and our experience. Because in the old days, they were saying, "Oh, this is a gay person," but we know a gay person isn't different from anybody.
Well, it's kind of similar to the things that you talked about earlier when it came to your condition, and it's not. I don't even call it a condition, because that's kind of disrespectful.
No, it's not even
what you have. Not. So, the way society has treated certain things versus what the understanding is now. I mean, just to deviate slightly, it's almost like when they did makeup, right? It used to be they put arsenic on people's faces, and then you would see these horrible, oh my God, you put arsenic. The only way they learned, unfortunately, that what didn't work and what did work was human tragedy, right? And so whether people had physical ailments, mental things that needed further understanding or teaching or outlets, people unfortunately had to do things the wrong way until people realized that there was better methods to handle particular characteristics.
Or the fortune. If we had fortune and we copied the fortune, and say, hey, he used olive oil for his skin and it worked.
Right.
So
and also too, sometimes it's sad to say this, that those conditions don't get the attention until somebody prominent has it, or their child or a relative has it, and then it starts to become more socially acceptable to do better by these particular people with these particular things going on. So what I thought was fascinating is you're also an author as well too.
So I did.
And you had, now how many books have you written?
8 books, and 5 books I have published.
How often, what's the process of writing a book?
For me, it's not the same for you. That's why I say I don't know nothing. I say you make your own opinion of what, from my experience.
What works for you? What works for you?
What works for me was, I made notes when I was an artist. I always make notes, and all art related, the 5 books. So the one is a script, and the other one how to place art, and the other one is 300 paintings in 3 days, and the Smart of Art, the newest one, is that to get clarity what the power in art is. It's not the product, it's the process.
Right.
So what I do with writing is I always make notes, because when neurodiversity, I'm not excusing that, but everybody has that, forgets things. So I make a note. I will constantly have a voice note. And then I write it all together. And then there's something in you. So for example, right now I'm finishing up education, human-centric education, what it means to be human first before you get a job.
Right.
If you don't know what it means to be human first, you're going to fail in your job and you're never going to be good in your jobs. You can just manipulate for short term, but you're never going to be, you should have the job that is you, not is me. My job is not your job. And but that's why you are 101. That nature made you, nature, universe, God made you 101. And you should get your job, but you are the best because every human is the best in one thing. I write them down and then I find out and then I put them.
So it's all about the individual, right? You're big on making sure that people are an individual. And I think, this is me just on my own personal opinion, because you had such a unique path of how you learned and understood things, you understood that people were best treated as individuals rather than as a collective whole. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yep. I don't see you as a man. I don't see you as a different race. I see you as a human first. The other thing I'm aware of, but it doesn't matter because you could be an asshole. And I would, no, because that doesn't mean, when you generalize humans, then you segregate them because you say the Ukrainians, the Russians, the Americans, the Chinese, you segregate them. Stop it. If you cheat the system, like all the stuff that now comes out, it's not all the Democrats. It's not all the Republicans. This is segregating us. Stop blaming, guilting, and shaming people. If you cheat the system, then it's you that cheated the system. It's not because you're a Democrat. The Democrats, all the Democrats are.
Well,
or whatever.
The biggest thing for me on the T.R.O.N podcast is that if you're creative and you have a vision and you have goals that you've accomplished and you have a way of how you went about it and are successful at it, I want to hear from you.
Exactly.
Where you came from,
doesn't matter.
It means absolutely nothing to me. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just like
no.
Right. You have to. A story that's inspiring is a story that's inspiring. So you also do personal coaching. I just want to touch on a couple things as well too. Yeah. So you also do personal coaching, and you're what's called QSCA certified. What is that?
That is, I forgot even that.
Yeah. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile.
Quantum success was one of the first coaching seminar. Yeah. But I hardly, it doesn't. Right. I mean, it had impact, but I also don't call myself a coach really anymore because a coach says, okay, Rashad. Think with me, Rashad. Think right now, everything. So you have to do one step, then the second, then the thing. What is if you say, Rashad, I don't want to go to 1. I want to go start with the 2 and then go to 5.
Right.
It's very controlling coaching. Right. Advising, I'm an executive advisor. I'm advising you, and I'm not upset if you say, hey, I want to do 2 now. I want to start with 5. Right. I'm not upset about that.
Right.
See,
You're fluid with the situation.
It's more fluid and human-centric. Exactly.
Correct. So you're also, it looks like your art gallery, from my understanding, it was in Newport Beach. Can we talk about that art gallery that you have?
Yeah, I had art galleries in Newport. I had art galleries in Laguna Beach. Yeah, it's just the sad thing with art galleries to realize that is people, like right now, we have the most artists in the world ever had and the least art sales.
Yeah, that's
because
crazy.
People figuring out that it is my podcast is 30 seconds and it's just on Saturday and it's just one sentence and a question and it's all for me. It's not from what you tell me. It's not from Picasso tells me. It's what I give you for my expression. And what the sad thing from the arts gallery is they are a system. And they have to sell the art gallery owner can love you. Said,
okay.
Rashad is my favorite. He's my favorite artist, right?
Okay.
You could say that.
Yeah.
But everybody buys Larry. Larry is an Asian guy, I think, and he makes very simple thing, and people understand it, and they buy it. So we're resolved, which is also the human centricity that I'm talking about. It's not the product. The product, if everybody copies the other. There's no fulfillment in it,
Well,
and because art is not like a Tesla that you have to buy this or a Porsche that you have to buy. It's the brand. It's something that
subjective.
And still people go by what's the Tesla art? What's the Porsche art? What is that? And they still go by that because they're not really getting if I don't go and see that art and it doesn't make me feel good, Why would I buy it?
That's kind of what I was getting into. And then my second question would be how does art work if somebody copies somebody's portrait? Like music, there's trademark laws, copyright laws, logos for large businesses, et cetera, et cetera. How does it work if somebody's selling, like, I like this painting that somebody drew, I'm going to draw something 90% exactly the same and sell it on how does that work in that industry?
They see this. Okay, so they look at the signature and they say, Rashad, and they see that. And they say, "Damn, I haven't sold one painting, and this mofo Rashad is selling all the painting or the music or whatever."
I traced my hand. That's as much as I can draw.
Yeah. And you copy. They say, okay, and then you hope that people that cannot afford Rashad will buy the cheaper one, 10%, 50%. It's all very logic system. It has nothing to do with creativity.
Okay.
The creative. You are creative. You were the first. You were the Rashad that everybody. And now it's the other. It's a copy, and that's the sad thing, because the galleryist has to sell what he doesn't like. See, when you like a certain car, let's say you like Porsche, then you are, you love that car, you love the culture, you love the whole stick, and you can identify with that. And you look forward every day to go in the showroom and sell cars. Not in galleries. In galleries is much different, unless you have, in the old days, you don't have the name. A Kincaid in the old day, that was bought by Disney, everybody wanted that. It was like a Tesla. Everybody wanted the same. But it's very hard to replicate that in art, because not everybody has the same taste. We are 8 billion people different.
So my question, here's an interesting question. With the recent rise of artificial intelligence, how has that impacted art and painting and things like that? Like,
not at all.
Okay, it has not.
It steals from the people that want an average, like a Tesla. If they want, and I'm not against Tesla, I'm just saying.
Right, as a prominent example, yeah.
Yeah, it's like when they look and say, when they see the AR art, all the people that, let's say you were just a plein air artist that makes copies nature, and let's see this, and you sell a lot. So AI does that and copies it.
Right.
So you take away from the people that are not themselves. AI does not take away from me. Trust me.
Okay.
Because I'm me.
And,
and I know exactly if AI would cheat on me or whatever. I did 3,000 paintings. So
that was intrinsically you.
It was totally me, and everything helped me to get more me. To be now with you dancing here is all the experience, life experience. See, it's not knowledge. People say, "Oh, I read the book and know." No, you don't know nothing. You have to experience it.
Well, I just didn't know, if, and this is part of my ignorance of not being a screenwriter, not being a musician, not being a writer. I didn't know if, like, the purists in field who, like, hey, I was painting on canvases and working on my craft, getting this here, and then now you can go to an AI and get that same painting, and you didn't put, quote unquote, the work in to do it.
No. It's the experience. Look, it's not the work, because I can have a shocking experience, right? That made me aware of so many. It took me 50 years to become what I am now. 50 years, a life experience. It's about the life. It's not the knowledge. It's not the titles you have. It's the life experience you have. I mean, when you ask even people from Harvard or anywywhere else, you ask them and say, tell me your experience. They all have a different experience.
That is true.
We are 8 billion.
That is true.
We are 8 billion. And it's not the experience. It's the experience that is different. It's the result, to get the certificate is the same. And people judge you by the result. They said, how many things? I never say that even have. You mentioned my certificate. I never even mentioned that, because it's not about that. That was learning. The certificate I get was for learning, but for learning more about me, not about, being a copy boy for them,
I was just curious if there was ever any sort of, like, because it's an entry
no
to
harm,
the market.
No harm. No, that was good.
For sure.
It was good.
So you also work with children a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I love to work with children.
So how does that work itself out, especially like
the easiest?
Nice.
Seniors and children are the easiest. Seniors and children are, look, you come from the non-physical, whatever you believe in. You come from the non-physical and the physical. So you're in charge with the universe, right? Because you came from nature, right? So the kids know, for example, when you have a family member and they always cry when the family touches, they feel the energy. And if you actually look and say, often they have not good energy. and dogs too. It's all the things,
sure.
and cats. So they all living beings know that. And then when you get old, so you get captured in the education to be system relevant, meaning you work for somebody else. Somebody else has just the idea, and you work for him, even though he has not experienced what he wants, but just I have an idea, and you work till you get older. And then in the older, you have so much experience from that hard working for nothing, that you can find out in things. You get wise. You get wise from experience, not from knowledge. Knowledge doesn't teach you anything.
Well, I think too, the interesting part is when you're working with kids and you're working with seniors is that particularly small children, right? They're involved and engaged because they like to grab things and touch. And they're very expressive very quickly, right? And then sometimes they'll just scrape, on a piece of paper just for doing it, right? Because it's something to let out and some energy. They see a white piece of paper, and the first thing they do is they're grabbing markers, they're grabbing crayons, they're grabbing paint, and and they're very expressive. And I think we lose that. Some of us do that choose not to go into the arts. As we get older, that doesn't really, manifest itself.
Art is natural. Art is what's possible. Art is what's possible. And you're 100% right. Because what I tell people when the kids are so jumping around and so I said, let him do art. Give him an instrument, give him crayons, give him whatever. Let him sing, do something, because that brings them, because they get direct feedback. So if my scootling around is different than yours. So I say, and then when I look at your scootling around, I say, Rashad, what the hell? Mine, it looks like this, yeah?
Right.
And so I see our difference from our soul. Not from our appearance,
correct,
but from our soul.
You're looking at the work that was created, not the person who did it.
Exactly. Right? And from music, you don't know what race, what gender, whatever they are, know. And then you have to look it up, and that's why it's so true. The true of art is the truest form. So art shows you what's possible, and also art shows you our system screwed upness that we say, he's a person horrible. Oh, he is this. No. You listen to his music, you know what he is. And he can be a disturbed prisoner that is system disturbed. They could never do anything. Yeah. Right. And then you listen to his music first. And you say, no. And then you see what he really is. He's disturbed because this is, you should not. And you are lower. You are higher. You're better. No. That's why I say stop. Yeah, with that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so what's a typical day for a person in the art world, like who does art for a living? I mean, obviously you do creative things, but for somebody who's not in that medium, what is a typical, as best you can describe, for an artist? What is what's a day? Wake up.
I like what Rick Rubin says, and Rick Rubin.
Oh yeah.
So he says, when you be an artist today, I'm talking today, have a job that somehow gets you money to survive and do the most art that you can. So have a job that is really intense perhaps, and then you can take off and you can keep creating. And that's actually, I believe, the best way. I had to have jobs to do the art that I do. I could never just, I didn't get a lot. For example, when I worked in Robert Evans, for example, I made, I think, $2,000 then, but it's perhaps $3,000 now per month. Just letting you, I'm saying it because
exactly to put in perspective.
Because people say, "Oh, once you work with him, no, you don't get anything. You be grateful you have that job and that experience." I mean, I was commissioner of Newport Beach, right? I was a politician,
right,
for free,
right.
If you want experience is what the money is, and it's not. We give you art commission, then they know you and no. That is that system lie that they say, I give you exposure.
Well, I was listening to an interview. I don't know if you know who Anthony Mackie is, the guy who's playing Captain America. Okay, so he's an actor, right? And so I was listening to an interview with him, and he said he did a movie with Ryan Gosling. He's a well-known actor, and he said the movie was called Half Nelson. Ryan Gosling got nominated for an Oscar. Anthony Mackie was like, I did that movie for $65 a day. Right. And you're like, oh, this dude's this dude's an A-list actor. And you're like, he did this movie for $65 a day?
Yep.
Like, wow.
Yep.
That's
all
nuts.
The time. Don't you see? Systems use advantage of the talent. It doesn't matter if you're the Formula One racer, it's a actor. I think they use that. And also they for example, they say, go and be a viral artist, when you get a viral video. Yeah.
Right.
So you're doing everything. First of all, there's 7 billion movies on the web. Mm-hmm. So you're saying, So they promote you. I said, Rashad had a viral video.
Mm-hmm.
It's the greatest thing. And he got something.
Mm-hmm.
He's viral. They don't even say what you get, But Snoop Dogg he said it. And that's why we say we get so powerful when we are 100% transparent to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So Snoop Dogg says he got $145 or $149,000 for 1 or 2 billion downloads.
Yeah.
See, that's the truth. The
right.
truth is, he's always hyped and promoted, which they can write off. But when it comes down to the end, how much cash did he get on his hand? No. And if that's Snoop Dogg, how much do you think your possibilities are? Or mine, if Snoop Dogg makes $149,000
off 2 billion views. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
It's crazy. That's
And we have to be honest, and we have to take back the power as humans. We created systems. We can change them. Do you understand that every system that was created, governments, everything was created by humans?
Oh, for sure.
Why can't we not update them that we have a balance? Because the balance is the highest power in nature. You can tell it. I'm not saying there shouldn't be rich people. I don't say there should be poor people, but balance it. Now it's extreme rich and extreme poor. That's not balance.
The best part about, just in general in life is what you make of it and how creative you can be and stretching your creativity to the best, level that you can do. I'll tell you one thing is that in this amount of time, I know that I haven't even scratched the surface of what you've accomplished and the things. And you gave me like a snapshot of all the things that you've done. And I would love to be able to have a follow-up with you.
Let's have it.
Regarding that. So
you're on it.
I'll branch this out.
Don't screw me over.
No, I got no interior. I need people like you on the show because there's so many fascinating things that I'd love to see. Your art that you've created, samples of, your books. And I want you to be able to say, hey, this is the book.
I did music too.
Yeah. So let's talk about all that type of stuff. And let's definitely do a nice Q&A. I'm looking forward to hearing it. I want to hear more of your story. I'm pumped about all the things that you're doing. Yeah. I'm not an artistic person, but this is my one creative artistic.
Yeah, everybody is an artist, but you have to find out what. For example, I'm not doing a lot of painting right now, but I'm writing a lot. So I'm writing a lot because I think the humanity needs to see. I have my podcast, my 30-second podcast, but that's not Smart of Art. But it doesn't. But I'm now, and I was first in video, then in painting. So video and film, painting, music.
Is this all self-taught?
All self-taught. How can I?
I guess that's the wrong question.
Not with that brain. Not with that brain.
Right. Well, Michaell Magrutsche, I am so glad that you joined the T.R.O.N podcast today, and let's do this again. Let's dive deeper into the things that you do.
Awesome.
And when you have any questions for me, let's keep in touch, please.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to exchange emails and all that.
Oh, for sure we will. Yeah. And I want to see some of your painting. I'll have to copy that book too. Where can people find you?
MichaellM.com. Michael with 2 L's.
Right.
M.com.
I saw your website.
Like Michael Jackson with 2 L's.
Yeah.
And so MichaellM.com.
Well, I'm looking forward for people to being able to, they don't need me to find you, but I'm grateful that you gave the opportunity for me to pick dive into your world for a little bit.
Yeah. Awesome.
Talk to you soon, brother. Thanks for being on the T.R.O.N podcast.
Thank you.